Hi, this is Andy from GPS Training. In this video we're just going to have a chat about the Garmin Etrex 32X GPX device and some of the features we've been using with it and how we're getting on with the device in our training bag. So what is the Etrex 32X GPS device? It's one of the smallest handheld GPS devices that Garmin do for navigating with when you're out in the hills, walking, cycling, climbing, running, all the activities you might do in the outdoors. It's nice and compact, very lightweight. It only weighs 141 grams with batteries in. The size of it, you'll see in my hand here, it's a nice compact unit. You hardly know you've got it in your hand. The actual dimensions of it are 5.4 centimeters by 10.3, and the depth of it is only 3.3 centimeters. So if you're wanting something that's really lightweight and doesn't take up much room when you've got it, say, in your backpack, it's a great item to go for. The screen is a 2.2 inch trans-reflective screen. Trans-reflective means when it's in the sunlight, it works really well in sunlight. You don't have the issues that we have on mobile phones. The 32X unit has a built-in electronic compass, so where that's great over the 22X, when you're standing still and you have the unit set in what we call track up, as you move the GPS device and you're outside with a satellite signal, the map actually moves with you. I'm inside the building at the moment, so I haven't locked fully onto satellites, hence we're not getting that same movement, but it's nice that it does have this electronic compass, which I can actually bring up on the screen here. This is the compass screen here. It also has a barometric altimeter on the device, so we can get height data as well from a barometric altimeter. We can look at elevation plots as we're out walking. I'm not actually doing an activity at the moment, so we haven't got any data in here, but it's nice that it does have the barometric altimeter as well. So it's a colour screen unit, as you can see. I've actually got a 1 to 50 Ordnance Survey map card with this unit. So we sell the units with what Garmin call their Topo Pro GB 1 to 50 map card. So this means for the whole of Great Britain, you get every single Land Ranger map on the unit. You can buy vouchers called Bird's Eye Select Plus vouchers that do allow you to download up to 25,000 square kilometres of 1 to 25 mapping. But I normally find on the smaller screen unit, the 1 to 50 map works well. Also, what's nice with the Etrex 32X, and you also get this with the 22X, Garmin preloads some European mapping on the unit that covers all of Europe. Now, I normally look at it as more as a map, as a cyclist style map, but to be honest, when you're in towns and villages, it's not a bad map to use to navigate with. So I'm actually just going to turn off this Ordnance Survey map so you can see what the European style mapping looks like. So all I've got to do is disable the map card that I've got for the Topo Great Britain Pro 1 to 50, not actually deleting it, just disabling it. And then when we go back to the map screen and I zoom in and out, you'll see now it's a lesser detailed map. But you do get lots of information on the map. You get information about what's in the town and village that you're visiting. So actually when I move the cursor, this little arrow using the joystick over various icons, it tells me the name of the street. It'll tell me if there's a shop. It's telling me this is the Queen's Head pub. If I move it up to the river, just at the top here where we've got the river, you can see it should tell me some information that we're in a river. It tells me it's a river. So you do get lots of information. If there is any footpaths or trails, if you move the cursor over a footpath, it would tell you that you're on a footpath, so you know what you're actually looking at. It's telling me the name of the street here. So it's not a bad map when you're in towns and villages. I'll just actually zoom out using the zoom out button on the top left of the screen just to give you a better idea of that map. If I simply want to turn my Ordnance Survey map back on, I can go into the map setup and I'll just put my Ordnance Survey 1 to 50 map back on, which is the one I would tend to use when I'm out in the hills. So we'll just enable that. Yep, so what we like about the unit, it's really down to the size and how small it is. And if you're using good quality AA batteries, we have known the unit to give over 20 hours battery life. That will be determined by the quality of batteries you use. We tend to recommend, if you're using rechargeable batteries, NIMH batteries, that you have a minimum capacity of 2,300 milliamp hours. You can get bigger capacities, the higher the better. If you're using the unit in cold weather, we tend to recommend using lithium batteries, or there's a make by Panasonic called Eneloop Pro, which are rechargeable, that work really well when you're in cold temperatures. So the unit itself, when you've got the unit turned on, if you look at it in simple terms, as you start walking with the unit, you're a little blue triangle on the screen, and you just see yourself moving across the map screen as you move, and the map turns with you, so you can see yourself moving across a map. You can also get a grid reference off the unit. So if I go to the satellite page on the main menu, and you can make these shortcut menus to get to a lot quicker than I am. And actually, I tell a lie, I think I've already got the satellite screen as a shortcut. I have, so I'm just going to scroll back to it. There we go. It's telling me I've got a weak signal because I'm inside the building. So what would happen is when I get a satellite signal at the top of this screen, it would actually give my grid reference. And there is actually the joystick. If I press down as if I was going to mark a waypoint of where I am, that will also give me a grid reference. Of course, when you're outside and you've got a satellite lock, you do get a nice quick satellite signal with the unit. It will pick up the GPS and GLONASS satellites, and I'll show you the other settings for the satellite that we can do. So I'm just going to go into setup and the satellite option. So we can have just the American system, but we've actually got this set as GPS and GLONASS, so we're picking up both the American and the Russian satellites, and we find it does get a decent signal considering the size of the unit. It's just because I'm inside the building at the moment. So you can get a grid reference off the unit to check with your map where you are, see yourself moving on a map. When you reset the trip computer before you start a walk, what's really nice, as you start walking, you've got a trip computer that will start counting up with data, how far you've walked, your speed, lots of information. You can change these data boxes to things you would like to see. It doesn't have to be the Garmin default settings. There's an endless choice of what you can set here. Just give you an idea of some of the options. So when I say change data fields, I could change one of these boxes, and there's loads to do with speed, sunrise, temperature. If you had a temperature sensor, when you're navigating to a route, you can have time to destination, time to next, things to do with trip moving time, so on and so on. There's just loads of choice of what you can have, so you can change those data boxes to suit what you would like to see. So we said all the ones to do with speed. One of the data boxes could actually be your grid reference, the heading that you're heading in, the direction you're heading in, estimated times of arrival, endless choices. Now what I like as well about, even though it's a small screen unit, if you struggle to see the data boxes the way they are and you maybe only want to see 2 or 3 data boxes, it does have an option called big numbers. So if I change it to big numbers, you have 1, 2 big data boxes and these 2 small ones at the top. So you could have a couple of things in there that are more important to you as a much bigger size if you're not needing to see all of the data boxes. Or I can put it back to the small numbered ones again. There we go, back to the small numbered ones. Also very good with the compass screen. When you're navigating with the compass screen, you can change the data boxes at the top. Now what actually happens when you're navigating a route, so this is the next stage of navigation we do with the unit, I can send a route to the unit that I've downloaded from the internet, off a website, and maybe a route that I've created on some route planning software. We have some great free software on the homepage of our GPS training website that lets you plan routes using OS maps. It's the very bottom of the homepage of our GPS training website. You can then transfer those routes onto the unit, and when you've got a route on the unit, rather than just seeing yourself move across a screen and recording your activity as you walk, we can bring up a route. So I'm just going to check what routes we've got in here. So I've got a route in here called LB. I think that's for Ladies Bridge. It's just a very short route. Tells me the distance, shows me the route on the map screen. So if I select that route to navigate to, what then changes on the screen, the map will load on the map screen, and I will actually see my route as a pink line to follow. So I'm just going to zoom in here a little bit closer. So the blue triangle is where I currently am, and if I start walking along this pink line, what would happen once I've got a satellite signal, the little compass bezel at the top here, and also the main compass screen, this would have a big coloured pointer in it pointing to my direction of travel, and it would actually have information like distance to next, estimated time of arrival. So useful information when you're navigating a route. It's only because I'm inside the building at the moment and I haven't got a satellite signal that I can't see that information. So as a whole, I mean, the unit does what you want it to do. It records a track so you can see information about where you've been. It lets you navigate a route. It lets you simply see yourself on a map screen as you walk and look at a map screen. You can, when you record where you walk, it has a function that allows you to track back to the start. So at any time you want to follow where you've just walked, it lets you follow that exact breadcrumb trail back to the start. So it does what we want out of a navigational device, but just in a nice small, lightweight, compact size that doesn't weigh a lot and is great with battery life. It has got joystick controls, so unlike some of the bigger units where the big push button units, if you're wearing gloves you might find buttons easier, you do get used to it and it is personal choice. You're going for small, compact and light, but bear in mind it's a little joystick that you use to move around the map rather than bigger buttons. And when you're on the main menu and you want to move around icons on the main menu using this little joystick up and down, works nice and easily. It's just you might find with bigger gloves you might want to take your gloves off, and then when you're on something you want to view, you're just pressing down on the joystick. And the buttons are marked, so I have a button marked back that takes me back out of a screen. There's a button marked light which does the backlight, so we can adjust backlight. And then we've got the menu button that lets us go into extra menus, and the up and down here lets us zoom in and out when we're on the map. So it's nice that things are marked on the unit. And you know, we haven't went into every function on the unit. When you actually go into the main menu, it's got some of the features we see on some of the bigger units. We can mark waypoints. I mentioned elevation plot. You can plan simple routes on the unit, but bear in mind it is a smaller screen and you're using the joystick to do that, but it is possible to do that. Lets you do area calculation. You can work out the size of an area of somewhere that you're walking around. Maybe something you find useful if you do survey work. Lets you look at sun and moon times, so sunset and sunrise times, which is useful when you're out walking. Stopwatch on it. A lot of these other features, I must admit, I don't use everything. It's mainly used as a small compact navigational tool. We like the unit just because of its size and how compact it is. If I take the back off the unit, you'll see where the AA batteries go that we were talking about. So I take the AA batteries out, I'll show you in the back of the unit. There's a little micro SD card slot. That's where the map card would go for your Ordnance Survey maps if you're using an Ordnance Survey map card. And on the back of the unit, if I just put this back on, the last thing I'll show you, we have accessories that go with the unit to carry it. So I've got a carabiner clip here that simply slides on the back of the unit and locks in place. We also do a cycle mount and a backpack tether to attach it to a backpack. So I hope you found this video useful on just a sort of overview on the Etrex 32X compact, small, lightweight unit from Garmin with a colour screen and options of the European maps that come preloaded or Garmin's Ordnance Survey maps. Hope you found this useful and thanks for watching.